Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I hope you are having a great day. Today's story is a continuation of another from the previous video, so if you want you can go watch that video first, the link is up here. If not, let's start with today's video. Today's story includes toxic parents, favoritism between siblings, parental manipulation, and entitled people. Let's start. Am I the idiot for telling my husband we need to suck it up and buy our daughter a new car? I, 39, female, and my husband, 43, male, have two daughters, 16 who we'll call Alana, and 17 who I'll call Casey. Casey has held down a steady job for over a year now, and was able to get herself a car. Now, she got this car right as Alana passed her own driver's test, so there was a little issue between who was going to be driving. After a little persuasion, Casey did allow Alana to use her car, so long as somebody else paid for gas. We told her that wasn't going to cut it. Alana doesn't have the money for that, and it's her car, her responsibility to keep gas in it and keep it on the road. Here's where it gets difficult. Alana wrecked it about a month ago. Luckily, she was fine, aside from a broken wrist and a mild concussion, but Casey was fuming the entire time and seemed to have this expectation that we would be replacing her car. Her and my husband got into it, and she threw her arms up like a child and just stopped speaking to us. We coaxed her into going to family therapy with us, though it wasn't productive, as she and the therapist agreed that it'd be best to maintain the reduced contact until she's paid back. Here's the problem, that car was $15 grand. She saved up every penny for a year for that car. She'd ask us about twice a week if we changed our mind, and obviously the answer was no, but that was the only thing she'd say to us. It didn't seem to bother my husband, and he kept saying she'll get over it. That was until last week, when she packed some things and had my mother come and get her. She's been staying at her grandmother's for a little over a week now, and she gave me a good earful. Whatever Casey told her worked, because earlier today my husband and I were informed that we had 30 days to replace the car in full, or she was taking us to court. I think my husband is admirable in wanting to stand his ground, but the way I'm looking at it, we have two options. And I am sick of my daughter not talking to me because of shit that is not my fault. Alana has been a wreck. She's already battling severe ADHD, and now she's shaking at the thought of having to appear in court. I thought she was upset because her sister left home, and her grandparents are threatening to sue her parents for something she is responsible for, but, okay. So I sat them both down, and said we have two options. We can suck it up, pay the $15,000 and have our daughter and sister back, and Alana will just have to buck up and work. Or, we can let my dad sue my husband and I on Casey's behalf, and almost certainly lose. We spoke to 4 different firms, and all 4 echoed similar sentiment, that it would probably cost us close to triple in the end to bring it to court and fight it there. So that's when I told my husband that I am not going $30 grand further into debt, for him to hold the pettiest grudge. He's saying that I'm being manipulative by holding this whole situation over his and Alana's heads. I'm not saying it's not part my fault. All I said was that no matter what, at the end of the day, we owe Casey and he needs to just accept that. We can afford $15,000 to replace the car, but if we have to dish out double that, just to lose in court anyway, I'm divorcing him before he makes that mistake. In either case, I'm done not supporting both of my daughters. We've tried reasoning with Casey and it has resulted in nothing. We lost this one. Am I the idiot for trying to get my husband to accept it? I feel I may be, just for how long I was being a passenger, no pun intended, in the situation, and for threatening my husband with divorce. I don't think we did anything that wrong, but I'm willing to admit when we made some mistakes, and we have to make up for it somehow. OP also replied to the comments and gave us more information. OP and her husband need to get Alana to pay Casey back for damaging her car. What is she supposed to do? Magically come up with thousands of dollars to pay my oldest back? It's not a matter of not wanting to hold people accountable, it simply is not realistic. I also want to state on record, I was very against Casey getting a car that nice as her first. She never listened. So now it's her fault that her sister wrecked her car? Insurance would have likely paid for some if she would have just put her sister as an approved driver on the plan. It would not have been difficult, but no, it's not Alana's fault that she has ADHD. it's not like she wrecked on purpose. Casey saved up $15,000 and didn't pay the $300 per MO to get insurance? Nope. Sounds like Alana wrote this and doesn't know how insurance works. Alana, pay for the gas if you drive the car. She had insurance, but they really screwed us over because Casey didn't approve Alana as a driver on the plan. That was a big determining factor in us deciding to hold firm. If Alana would have been approved on the plan, we would have covered the remainder on what the insurance was offering. But this is the result of Casey's decision, hence, I agreed with my husband that it's fully her responsibility. I just didn't expect her to sue us out of nowhere like this, and I especially didn't expect my parents to be enabling this behavior. What's in her best interest might suck now, but she'll learn from it in the future. My husband's been fuming for weeks over this, and a lot of you are saying he even made a post, but if they ruled not the idiot, then he wasn't telling the full story. Alana broke her arm in that wreck, and all Casey has cared about the past month is her car. That's the genesis behind the family therapy, and I'm very concerned that so many people are supporting her entitled behavior. If so many people are saying she's right and you're wrong, there must be a good reason, don't you think? And she also added, Casey was paying insurance, but conveniently left Alana off of it. I haven't pitched this to my husband yet, but I half wonder if that was her plan all along. Either way, I can't in good faith let her off on not making sure her sister was taken care of on the insurance, when she knew Alana would be driving. She had the car for months at that point, she had time. They've shared for enough years now, she knows better, but that's what has me irked. My thing is, if your daughter hit a random person, you'd be paying for their car. No, the hell we would not. That would be Alana's responsibility, but honey, she rolled the car pretty good after hydroplaning. The insurance should have covered that, but Case decided to be difficult and never put Alana on the insurance. This is on Casey, I don't mind having to pay, but I can't stress enough that this is a lot of people's fault, not just mine and my husband's. Why didn't she have full coverage on a $15,000 car? Pay the deductible and move on with life. That wasn't my or my husband's doing. Casey was paying the insurance and never had Alana on her insurance plan like she was supposed to. Insurance determined that the wreck was Alana's, quote, fault and didn't pay a cent, which is a result of Casey's poorly planned insurance situation. I don't understand why we are being expected to bail her out of a situation that it's on her to be avoiding. She also shared more about Alana. We've had her in and out of therapy for a long time, she insisted she was ready to drive, and I certainly didn't have any problems with her learning to drive, she did fine with her permit. Why do I expect to see a follow-up to this in a decade or so, where you're posting about Alana still living at home and bitching that Casey didn't even inform you of her wedding, and now won't bring her new kid to see you? That's funny, Alana's the only one we've ever had to talk about boys with. I don't think Casey is very dateable, definitely don't see her being marriage material. My God. It's Alana we have to worry about. Case will come around, this isn't the first mountain she's constructed out of a molehill, I'll have you know. OP is blaming her parents for enabling Casey into suing OP and her husband. I'm not absolving them of blame either, they're the ones enabling Casey in all of this. Are you forgetting that it's my mom and dad suing on her behalf? You're nuts if you think they won't be hearing from me, results be damned. I've been getting angry telephone calls for a week over this shitstorm, somebody has to answer for that, even her uncles are on her side in this. And the in-laws haven't said a word, I don't know what's happening on that side. OP also says, it doesn't matter if it was Case's property, she's 17, it's our rule that goes. If she wants to park that car in our driveway, she needs to be responsible and follow our rules, there is zero need for her to be this difficult about sharing her car. Alana already lost her whole summer to recovering from the broken leg, and her wrist still hasn't fully healed. Casey needs to sit down and recognize that her sister has been punished worse than anything my husband and I could offer. We're not making Alana pay $15,000 on top of that, it's simply not happening. Then she continues. If the car was our responsibility, my husband and I would have sorted out insurance. It is her car, if SHE wants insurance, then she needs to make certain that it's covered. She didn't get it done in the end, this was months ago, and she's been sulking about it ever since. That being said, if I'd have known she was actually going to try and sue, I would have tried to calm her down and suggest something that works for all of us, not just her. Whether Alana was ready or not, it is pointless to have a car in the driveway that is only driven by one person. Having them share it gives the car more purpose than not. Case has her day, then Alana has hers. It should have been so simple. OP on what she and her husband do for Casey. We feed her, we clothe her, we were going to send her to college, she had a place to park that car because of us. And oh by the way, my husband got under there and fixed a tie rod about a month after she got it, for all of you saying about how awful he is. He's not, he loves Casey, we both do. But I didn't see her putting that car up in the air to redo the brakes and fix the AC when she hit a deer. That was all her father. I figured that allowing her sister to also drive their car was a more than fair ask for all he did, and is a big reason why I supported him. I just hate that I apparently can't support him and love my daughters. If that's the resolution you all want, forget it. Case is gonna take this to court, and then when she loses, she's going to throw another fit, but that's better than dishing out $15,000 for a car we're not even going to drive. It's not lost on me that we owe her, we just don't owe her that much. She'll come around when she realizes how the world works. I think OP and husband are the ones who need to realize how the world works, and with their mindset, I don't know if they'll like it. Well, this post gives us a little more information about the situation, but from the comments it's clear that people also think the wife is an idiot. I'm flabbergasted that these parents are so convinced that the daughter who had her car totaled is the one at fault here. Like, they keep making up justifications to take the responsibility away from them and Alana, justifications that only make sense in their minds. Honestly, I really wanted to be in that room when they exposed these, quote, justifications to the judge, lol. And now OP come up with this theory that Casey is somehow, since before the accident, wanting to jeopardize her sister by not putting her in insurance. Well, I have a very simple explanation for that. It was her car, not hers and sister's, it was Casey's car, and if it weren't for yours and husband insistence, Alana wouldn't even have been driving that car. Also, I love how OP keeps changing her opinion. It was an accident, we're partly to blame, it wasn't anyone's fault, part of the blame is Casey's, it's Casey's fault for all of this, good God. I also don't want to assume that Alana is also an a-hole, because we don't know how she really feels about all this. They just say that she's sorry, and that she's sad about the whole situation, but does she feel responsible? Could it be that she wants to get a job to pay her sister and her parents won't let her? Or does she have the same mindset as her parents and thinks that because she has ADHD she is not responsible? And because it's his sister's car, is Casey the one who has to be responsible for the damage? Because if that's the case, she takes after mom and dad and we have a mini a-hole here. At least, Casey has her grandparents by her side, and I'm glad she has someone thinking about her well-being and taking action to get her some kind of justice. And you know what's funny, just from her post only, I was ready to say that the wife wasn't the idiot. I thought that in the end she really understood the situation, or at least understood the risk of losing in court, and that she just wanted her daughter back and her family back together. But after reading her replies and how she talks about Casey, ma'am, you are the idiot. And what did you think of the wife's post? What would you do if you were in Casey's shoes? Would you also sue your parents? Don't forget to leave your comments down below. Now let's move on to the update. Oh, and I hope you are enjoying the video so far. If so, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications to know when a new video is out. Now let's go to the update. Update, am I the idiot for telling my husband we need to suck it up and buy our daughter a new car? It's been a few weeks since I last updated, and I want to start out by addressing a few things that opened my eyes a little bit in regards to this situation. The first thing being, my husband's post, which came well before my own. He and I fought over that. I truthfully didn't love that he used real names, however when I found out he posted, for the sake of transparency, I used real names as well. But, with that being said, I went through with the difficult decision to serve him divorce papers. To really abbreviate things, I went to therapy as lots of you suggested, and I was assessed with a diagnosis for an obsessive-compulsive disorder in my second session, and in my third session, we discussed the whole car situation, and my personal therapist explained it to me in a way that made it hard to not feel awful for Casey. The discussion we had covered quite a lot, but the common denominator in everything that's been going wrong has, in large part, been my husband. He's the reason Casey shared her car, he's the reason Alana got hurt driving on her own, and he's the reason we're set for court in barely a week, and still don't have an attorney. And me? I don't know what I've been doing, but it hasn't been being a mother, if I'm honest. One of you asked me straight up, why I was being a passenger, and I just don't have a good answer. I let my parents know about the divorce and they were a little concerned, but what I didn't expect was for Casey to reach out. The last time we talked was mostly her and my husband butting heads. I really thought she was about to turn me on a spit, but I've never heard her cry like that, at least not since she was much younger. I make a little bit more than my husband, but finding an apartment was brutal, especially with Alana wanting to come with me. I don't think I was clear enough about how badly I want to pay Case back before, but I do. Most of my money is in joint savings though, so there isn't much I can afford, but my husband wasn't going to back down. I won't lie, I was selfish. I begged Casey to drop my name from this suit. I told her I would pay what I could afford to write this second, which wasn't much in comparison, and she told me that it wasn't so much the car or the value on its own she wanted back. It was the security to have something of her own, and she listed off probably dozens of instances where Alana got first pick over her and it was very hard to refute. She told me that losing that much money sucked, which I fully understand, but the bigger loss to her was that her first big girl purchase, which a lot of friends and family were excited about, was now going to be remembered as a family-ending disaster. She told me that she knows I can't replace that. We agreed to breakfast next week and joint therapy, us two, and her only condition was that I don't try at any point to save him from the suit, which I agreed to. Alana came to me even before my last post, saying she only drove so far because my now ex-husband pressured her into picking up the grocery order early for something he wanted to make. This also changed my perspective. I was under the impression that she was doing her own thing, but even my husband owned up to that, which ground my gears, but I put it together. A legal driver in an expensive car, not insured, and under pressure? Alana drove, but I've come to realize that my ex-husband seems to have a tendency to like to pressure people. He's pressured me a lot too. He probably pressured Casey into letting Alana drive at all, which brings me back to her, and we finished our talk with better terms. I owe her so much more than breakfast out, but I'm just beyond grateful she's even willing to look at me. I've seen a lot of bold assumptions that I hate Case and that I vastly favor Alana, but I only feel the second part was ever accurate. I've never hated my own daughter. I was frustrated with her over something I've come to realize wasn't her fault. As of now, I'm just adjusting to a much quieter place, and to my phone buzzing non-stop. I've only been moved out for 5 days and Alana has seemed so much less anxious, to me at least. It's odd because my place now isn't anywhere near what the house is, but I think last night was probably the first time I've slept 8 hours since high school. Today was productive, and for Casey, I'll admit it, I hope she wins. I hope she gets her car and then some. As for the divorce, I don't want much material. I won't say no to it. I'd rather just have my share of joint savings, and try to tackle my own issues, of which I guess I have more than I would have been willing to admit a month ago. I know I'm going to get pelted most likely, but I want you to know I'm thankful. The internet is mean, but it tells the truth, and however this turns out, it's largely your comments that helped me see what I was doing wrong, and who was enabling those things. And most importantly, how I could stop it. It's times like this where my dad would tell me I'm not lucky, I'm privileged, and I think that applies here. I'm privileged that my daughter didn't just laugh, even though she could and arguably should have. That's the update. I'll update whenever Casey and I meet, barring she's comfortable with it, and then you probably won't hear from me until the whole suit and divorce is over and done with. I just wanted you to know, I hear you all, and I wish I could have seen reason when I first posted. I'm frustrated reading my own comments. Therapy is a powerful thing. I don't really know what to say about this. I mean, I'm glad OP got out of a bad marriage, but it's still kind of confusing to me. At no point in her original post does she imply that she has problems in her marriage. On the contrary, she largely agrees with her husband's behavior. She only threatened him with divorces if they lose the case. Is this also about that? I understand that therapy often opens people's eyes to things around them, especially about bad things, but OP had such a formed mindset before that it makes me suspect whether she actually changed her mind, or whether she just didn't like that everyone was against her. I don't know. Also, I still don't like how she continues to dismiss Alana's guilt. First it was Casey's fault, now is her controlling ex-husband's, which some of it may be his fault, but still, to OP Alana can't be at fault here, and that is very wrong. But either way, I really hope things get better for you and your family from now on. And that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time.